Good morning. Friday morning before Memorial Day, so I'm in my t-shirt in the spirit of summer, which I am hoping is coming at some point, and finishing this letter at the same time, finishing this letter from John Newton about the right use of the law. And as Newton is concluding this letter, he's making an analogy that's really interesting, a comparison between the spiritually mature believer in Jesus and a master carpenter, basically. This is what he says. He says, the exercised believer, exercised, well-conditioned, spiritually mature, the exercised believer, like a skillful workman, has a rule in his hand, a ruler, a measuring stick, a tape measure, whereby he can measure and determine with certainty. In other words, he says, picture a carpenter, picture a workman, and he's got a ruler. And why does he have a ruler? So that he can know what he looks at with certainty. He can understand exactly how long it is. He doesn't have to guess about the length of a board or the width of a board. He can measure it and he can know. Now he says in the same way, that's what the law of God is for a spiritually mature believer. It allows us to look rightly at God, to look rightly at the world, to look rightly at ourselves, and ultimately to understand rightly the work of Jesus on our behalf. That's the law of God does all those things. It allows us to understand things rightly, to not have to guess. He says, on the other hand, others judge, as it were, by the eye, and can only make random guesses in which they're generally mistaken. So by contrast to the master carpenter, this is like me going and looking at a wall and saying, like, I think it looks like it's 12 feet or so, right? Just making a random guess. That's the best that someone without a ruler can do. And he says, generally mistaken, right? So when I go and I look at a wall and I make a random guess, I'm going to be wrong because I don't have a ruler. It's the same way for a person looking at the world around them without the measuring stick of the law of God. They're just going to make a random guess about the world, about what's wrong with it, and what can make it right again. And they're going to be wrong. I don't know if you've been following along with the Hebrew alphabet in the daily listening program from Psalm 119. We're continuing. I'm in my daily listening program. I'm continuing to work my way through Psalm 119. And Psalm 119, remember, is like an acrostic. Each section starts with a different letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yod, Kaf, Lamed, Mem. That's where we are. Mem, section from verse 97 through verse 104. And so I'm just going to end by reading it, because everything that we've been talking about the law of God and its beauty is kind of summed up here. Listen to what it says. Oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation all the day. Your commandment makes me wiser than my enemies, for it is ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the aged, for I keep your precepts. I hold back my feet from every evil way in order to keep your word. I do not turn aside from your rules, for you have taught me. How sweet are your words to my taste, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through your precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. Have a great day.